Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back, and today we are going to answer the number one question that is on everybody's mind, and that is, what is a podcast? You know, this is quite a heated debate in the podcast community, and so let's talk about it a little bit. If you ask a purist or somebody who's been in the game a long time, they might tell you that a podcast can only be audio and it can only be found on iTunes or another audio-only podcast distributor. However, if you ask the average consumer what a podcast is, they will tell you that it's content that they can watch on YouTube. So it's a little bit confusing, I get it, but let's just talk about what this really means. You know, the way that podcasts were created was originally with RSS feeds, and originally were all hosted on iTunes. And you listen to them in your ear pods, hence the name podcast. However, podcasts have really evolved over the last, decade or so. And so now podcasts are being distributed on all kinds of platforms. All right, let's talk about Joe Rogan, for example. Joe Rogan's podcast is on iTunes and on YouTube. And in fact, it's the exact same content. It's the same audio file. It's the same video file, because I'm not sure if you realize this, but you can actually post video on YouTube as well. So are we going to say that Joe Rogan's content, when it is on iTunes, is a podcast, but when that exact same file is then listed on YouTube, it is no longer a podcast? Well, I guess you could say that, but at the end of the day, the consumers think the podcasts are on YouTube and on iTunes, so I think we should listen to the consumer. So, short answer is, a podcast is anything that's in episodal form that's available on demand for you to download and listen to later. It's a little ambiguous, we get it, but is a rose still a rose, even if you call it by another name or something like that? So, I guess to answer your question, a podcast is content that you create and that is available to download. However, the biggest answer to this question is, a podcast is an opportunity to build and create community in a way that has never been seen or done before. That, to me, is what is super exciting about podcasting. So, get out there, get your podcast up and running, and the next time somebody asks you what a podcast is, send them the link to yours instead. All right, let's get creating.